Alright guys, hello everybody. I'm getting all my screens up, so just give me a few seconds here. Oh good, we're Ive. I guess I'll add an L to that. There we go, that fixes that. Alright guys, I just got home a few minutes ago and I haven't even had a chance to check for feeds, so we're going to do it together here. I got a couple things going on. I've been working on the car. I'm gonna talk about that. I got the light in here. I've been kind of playing around with it. Really cool, all the different things that it does, different flash patterns and all that. So I've been kind of playing around with that. And I also bought the battery eliminator for my UV82s. I've got 5 of these UV82s. Several of them were given to me. They don't work right. 3 of them are in perfect condition. But the batteries have all gone dead. They're 5 years old. So I've got all these neat little radios with dead batteries. So what I'm doing, I'm getting these battery eliminators. And what I can do now is hook an antenna up to it that's on top of the shack, plug this into 12 volt power, which I have here under the console, and I can now put this on whatever frequency I want. I got a pin out right here. I've got the adapters for the 16th inch plug. Comes right out, goes right into a radio. So I'm going to be switching over a couple of feeds and stuff with these. Broadcastify, because I had not been up for a few weeks, canceled my SARNet feed. Or I'm sorry, my NI4CE feed. And they pissed me off because they won't reinstate it. They're just being jerks about it. And so I'm going to find somewhere else to host it, I think. I don't... I'm one of these people that if you like are nasty to me, then I'm just going to... I'll move on somewhere else. I am going to keep SARNet over there. A lot of people listen to that. And the NOAA Weather Radio, I'm going to keep that up over there. But NI4CE has been deleted from their system, which really pissed me off. I just got the part today to get it back on the air. And they delete me yesterday. So, thanks a lot, Broadcastify. Really pissed me off. There was no need for that. Okay, on the grid, we're watching the weather around the country. In the lower left, we've got 4 severe thunderstorm warnings. And Arizona, all 4 of them in Arizona. So let's take a look there. We've got a storm chaser on the board. We have got, right now we've got Storm Runner Media, and he is in Scottsdale, Arizona. So I'm going to put him right here, and we're going to be watching that. He is live in Scottsdale, Arizona, and he is chasing right near Phoenix. And he is chasing this storm that's coming across. I'm going to put this over on single site radar so we can get an idea of what this thing looks like. Yeah, he's got a major storm about to overtake him here. Oh, Jesus, what is this? It's a backward storm. Look at that. There's some weird shit going on out there. It's a backward storm. It's moving northwest. You're not seeing shit. That's crazy. So there you go. So it's actually the worst of it right now is in Phoenix proper, and especially northern Phoenix, really getting some heavy rain at this point. So we are watching that. That's the only severe weather nationwide right now is in Arizona, specifically in the Phoenix area. A sandstorm, that's interesting. Must be a a big wind going through or whatever. We've also got another big wildfire in California. Not a lot of scanner feeds in the area, but we are going to go take a look at that and go through it and see what there is there. Um, all right, I'm trying to see if there's any new news that's come out that's worth mentioning. Cracker Barrel lost big in the markets again today. We talked about Cracker Barrel for a 30-minute segment on our show tonight. We did about 23 minutes on it, two different segments because it's kind of stupid, really. They're getting a lot of backlash, and of course they're all in. What are they going to do, right? What are they going to cancel all the upgrades to their restaurants, or capitulate? Generally speaking, these big corporations, especially ones that are doing what this one's doing, this one ended up getting people in charge that have a very different ideology, and they're trying to change the actual restaurant and basically de-southernize it. And it has pissed off the people down here. Oh my God. It is on every show they're talking about this. It has upset the folks. Wow, I'm just telling you, it's been quite the experience to watch how absolutely upset people are getting about the Cracker Barrel change. So I'll be talking about that a little bit later. Um, yeah, the biggest drug bust, one of the biggest offshore, if not the biggest drug bust in history. They're bringing in the stuff that came from 3 or 4 different boats or ships out there. I have a weird feeling on drugs. I don't use hard drugs. I've never used hard drugs, and I've never even tried hard drugs. But I have this thing about it. It's free country. If you want to kill yourself with fentanyl, go ahead. Because in a few months you'll be gone, the bills will be paid, and we can move on. I know that's terrible, but I get sick of it. Do you realize what percentage of your taxes goes to drug enforcement every year? It's ridiculous. And I don't see that it's gaining any traction. You can buy weed at every corner. You can buy, of course, weed's legal now, most everywhere. You can buy it here in the head shops or the dispensaries or the pharmacies at this point here. Um, but the point is as far as hard drugs, and I'm not talking about marijuana or alcohol or cigarettes. I'm talking about hard drugs. I don't really care. I don't use them. Nobody I know uses them. If you use them, that's fine. It's up to you. It's a free country. And I'm sick of spending billions and billions and billions of dollars each year to house and clothe and otherwise support and maintain people that just decided to use drugs for themselves. And so I've always kind of had a weird problem with that, because these law enforcement agencies, they put much more emphasis on drug enforcement than they do burglary enforcement or rape enforcement or robbery enforcement. We've got 68% of our murders go unsolved in the city here. It's a little better in the county. Of course, the guy that runs the county is a tyrant. So, yeah, there's not a lot of crime where you got tyrants. But the point is we've got all this unsolved crime. All this unsolved crime. And the truth is, and this is a reality, and I'm telling you, I was a cop, I was a fireman, I worked for the media, I drove a cab. I've done a lot of things in my life. I've seen a lot of sides of life, okay? I've seen a lot of sides of death, too. And the reality in life is when you make something illegal, you up the ante, okay? When you make something illegal, you make possessing that something that people are going to be violent towards cops. They don't want to get caught with COK, COKE in their pocket. You know what I'm talking. I try not to say too many of these drug names. Um, if they've got that in their pocket, a cop pulls up, there's liable to be violence. There's liable to be injury. There's liable to be someone get put in jail that I'm going to have to feed and clothe and house for the next 12 years. When all he's doing is drugs, it's his body. I don't give a shit if he does them. Let him do them. We'll find a corpse in the morning. We'll cremate him. We'll be done. We'll move on. I don't care. I'm just sick of spending all of my money and all of my time, all of our time of our law enforcement that could be spent solving all of these very important crimes that go unsolved. Rape kits that sit around for 2.5 years. Calls that go unresponded to and unanswered. Minor crimes, P1 crimes we used to call them, that just basically go unresolved. You know, people actually think that the cops look for your shit. They don't look for your shit. Let me tell you something. Okay, they break in, let's say it's the 90s again. They break in and steal your VCR, okay? The cops aren't looking for your VCR. Now, if they make a big bust and they run the number and you had the number to give them when you reported it stolen, yeah, you might get your thing back. It's not, who knows what shape it's going to be in. But the truth is they only get back 10 or 20% of people's property. They only get back a 40 or 30 or 40% of people's cars that are still in a drivable condition. I'll never understand how they're chasing your $80,000 stolen car. So what do? They ram 7 cop cars into it. You're supposed to be getting my shit back, not destroying it to catch the bad guy. See, our priorities are all screwed up here. Okay? I'm the taxpayer. My car should be the priority here. All right? We should find a way to get that car back without destroying it. They don't even care about your car. In fact, they will purposely destroy your car to get the asshole that's driving. And I'm done with that. They don't solve murders, they don't solve rapes, they don't even do the rape kits. They sit for 2 or 3 years and never get run through the machine. I'm done with it. I think we should just give up on the war on drugs. Let's have a war on crime. Let's have a war on burglary and theft, the things that affect our lives, like shoplifting. I think we should have these guys, there are people raiding stores, they're running in and stealing all the shoes. Why don't we do something about that? And then they'll come and say, well, you know, there's a drug problem. That's why people are breaking in and stealing shoes, because there's a drug problem. Yeah, you know what? You're trying to put the cart before the horse. If you would quit trying to deal with this and start trying to deal with the actual problem, you'll be better off. When I was a cop, and today, it hasn't changed. Drug arrests get you more points towards a sergeant exam than any other kind of arrest. They can solve a rape. A guy is a serial rapist. He's been doing it for years. And a cop can solve that. But if he gets a cocaine bust, that actually will get him more points towards his sergeant's exam. Junior, that's one of my favorite songs, dude. Pink Floyd, Shine On Crazy Diamonds, man. That is a great song. Back album. It's like 22 minutes long. And you know what I love about that song, dude? I'm going to tell you, this is crazy. I love about that song. He don't even come out and start singing until 15 minutes. I love that song. Yeah, Red, that's what they say. That's what they'll turn around and tell you, these people cause crimes. Then fine, deal with the crimes. The reason they're doing the crimes is because their drugs are so goddamn expensive, because you've made it illegal, and now they have to be run by mules and they have to be brought in. So what you're talking about is true, but the situation is actually created by the war on drugs. When you make drugs so hard to get, people have to go do dangerous things, and people hurt people over drugs, and people steal them, and people have them blow up in their body while they're muling them, and all these horrible things happen. Why? Because we made the drugs illegal. If the drugs were not illegal, people would just use what they want to use. If they kill themselves, they die. If they live, they live. And we can take all that money, and I'm talking hundreds of billions of dollars nationwide, take that money and solve crimes in this order: murder, rape, robbery, burglary, felony theft. Get on it. Battery, hit and run with injuries. I mean, I can list 40 things that you should be spending your time on. And if we concentrate on the criminal part of it, and we don't make these illegal anymore, there won't be crime in the street over the drugs because they're not illegal anymore. Nobody kills anybody over vodka. Hell, nobody even kills anybody over weed. Nobody kills anybody over cigarettes. Those are all three addicting. Why is that? It's because they're legal. The thing is, when you make something illegal, you make it dangerous to be around. You don't stop people from using it. You don't stop people from around here from selling it. It doesn't do anything really other than just make everything involved with it more dangerous. More dangerous for the cops, more dangerous for the bystanders, more dangerous for the people involved with the drugs, more dangerous for anybody in the way of the bullets when they start flying. And so that's why I'm not an advocate saying, I think we should legalize all drugs. I'm looking at it from a standpoint of what works. I was a cop. I've seen it. It doesn't work. It doesn't matter. Every car we pull over throws shit out the window. What are we doing? Why are we wasting time with that? When I would ride with guys, I'd work with them for the first time. I didn't know them. I'd go out on the first time. I was auxiliary, so I rode with guys most of the time. I was certified. I carried a gun, but I rode with guys most of the time. When I rode with a guy for the first time, I either liked him or I didn't ride with him ever again. Because when you ride with guys, you'll get these, what I used to call crack hounds. And these guys would go out, and all they would blow off active burglary calls because they're following a car that they think's full of drugs. And I'm like, we've got citizens calling for emergency assistance, and you won't respond to that because you're following a car that you think's going to have some drugs in it. That's ridiculous. And it's dangerous. But that's the mindset they get because that's how you get promoted. Drug arrests are the highest points. That's all the agencies want. Why? I don't know why. Again, the priorities are all wrong. They are. They get drugs off the street every night. Why are they not that efficient when it comes to these harder crimes? Why are they not that efficient when it comes to homicide? I mean, I think we should put most of the money and resources into catching people that are ending other people's lives. Okay? And then I think we should go to sexual crimes next. And we should catch every SOB that's ever done one, ever, and lock them away. And then we should go to the next one. Armed robberies. Boom, boom, boom. Every SOB that's what we need to do. It's the all or nothing, okay? But it's priorities. They go around all night chasing taillights that are burned out, tag lights that are burned out, window tint that is too dark. What are we doing? And it's all just to get in the car and see if they can find drugs. I don't like drugs. I wish I could go like that and make all hard drugs disappear from the face of the earth. I would do it. I can't. Okay, the whole genie thing doesn't work. So what I have to do is just tell you how I feel about it. And that's what I'm doing. I feel that the war on drugs has been a fantastic failure. Just like the war on poverty was a failure, and the war on terror was a failure, and the war on obesity was a failure, and the war on famine was a failure, the war on global warming, we don't even know what's going on with that because it's kind of not even really a thing. And all these war on, we've got 17 wars going on. We got a war going on, and you know what? Every single one of these, we don't win. We never win. You know the last war we won? World War II. Hell, Korea's still under a ceasefire. We don't win shit. All these wars we don't win. I'd like to just win one war. Just one. I get it, Galactic. I get it. I understand that. But the justice system doesn't help these people. And I'm going to say it 3 times. The justice system doesn't help these people. Putting them in jail doesn't help them. They go in jail, they come right back out, they go right on the sauce. It doesn't matter, okay? You have to find a way to save them. Interventions, families, it's all, I know it's easy to say, hard to do. I get it. But the justice system is not helping these people. It takes away everything from them. It takes their car, it takes their house, it takes their money, it takes their life, they get a felony on their record, it takes their ability to work. It takes their ability they can't raise kids. It takes their ability away to do anything. How did the criminal justice system help somebody? By giving them a felony that's on their record for the rest of their life. Over having a plant in your pocket. Or having some powder for personal use. How is it that ruining your life forever and having your picture published forever and having your information out there forever, even if you're found completely not guilty, your mugshot and your picture are out there forever. Every single Google search that ever is done on you, the first thing that Google pulls up is your mugshot. And you weren't even found guilty. Guilty don't matter. The sheriff publishes those pictures the moment they happen. And then they go in those extortion papers. Did that help the guy that's hooked on phonics? Hell no. What you've done is you've taken away his house, you've taken away his car, you've taken away his family, and now you've taken away his ability to ever make it better again by giving him a felony on his record. I know a lot of people have never thought about it this way. How can you expect that man to ever get his life straightened out? You might as well let him just kill himself. Because he's never going to get his life straightened out. Not with those felonies on there. And it was all personal use shit. It's not like he was coming from Colombia with a whole stomach full of balloons. Okay? This shit was just something that he had for personal use. Boom. 3 years. Felony. And he's stuck on probation. He can't work. He has nowhere to stay. They try to put him in halfway houses. None of it works out. His wife won't see him. He has no visitation rights with his kids because he's got a felony. Have we done that man any favors as a society? No. The criminal justice system does not help people. It's a system, it's a machine that's designed to simply help and feed itself. We're the fodder that it feeds itself. And then every year when they say, look, we had more trials, more cops making arrests, more drugs taken off the street, more court hearings, more this, more that. Oh, and we need more money. And we need grant money. Because look, it's all drugs. When it's drugs, the federal government rains money down on top of you. Anytime it's drugs, oh my God, the drugs are getting bad in your county. The federal government will rain money down on top of you. They've made drugs the goal of every single thing they do out there on the street. And it can't be that way. We have to set better priorities. If it wasn't illegal, it wouldn't cost what it costs. If it didn't cost what it costs, people wouldn't be breaking into houses. People could maybe get the help they need. If they didn't have that felony on their record, they could get a job, they could work. The criminal justice system never helped anyone. Because guess what? when the guy breaks in and steals your VCR so he can go get some money for crank, okay, guess what happens? All right? You never get your VCR back, okay? The guy screws him out of the money for the crank, and he's on the street sleeping there with nothing in a ditch. They're not going to get your VCR back. The guy didn't get his money for the stuff, and the other guy's sleeping in the ditch. It's a lose, lose, lose. Where if the guy could just go into Walgreens for $3 and buy the shit, he wouldn't have broken my house. He wouldn't have stole my VCR. The cops wouldn't have had to not bother getting it back for me. The point is this is the problem. By making it such a high stakes game, we have created this danger that we live in, especially in a poor neighborhood like mine. We have created a very dangerous environment that our children have to live in. It's a school bus during the day, and it's where the drug deals go on at night. We have created this amazingly dangerous situation by making drugs illegal. The roads and the streets, you want to make them safer? Deregulate. Completely deregulate. Let people put whatever they want in themselves. And then take that money and make sure that everybody has complete, free, unfettered access to any kind of addiction services that they could possibly ever need. Because when you take hundreds of billions of dollars that we spend on the war on drugs, do you realize how much we could now spend on getting people off of it? We could take that money and we could spend it on halfway houses. We could spend it on drug treatments. We could spend it on inpatient and outpatient care. We could spend it on housing. We could spend it on things to help these people get back into society. Everything has a sunset. I don't believe in handouts, but I do believe in hand-ups. And I do believe we could get these guys back, and when I say guys, I use that very loosely. We could get these humans back into society again. But not if you put a felony on their record and their mugshot on Google. They'll never get a job again. All right, I'm going to read the chat for a minute. Junior, I don't know. We'll check that. I'll check that here in just a minute. Yeah, that's another thing. If they're buying it at Walgreens, it's safe. When they're buying it on the street, it's cut, and it's cut with God knows what. And then they're putting that right into their vein or right into their nose or right into whatever they put it in. God knows where they're putting that shit nowadays. What's that? I don't know if I got cats fighting outside or what. Jesus God, that was loud. All right, so anyway, I didn't mean to get into this discussion tonight, but I just think it's important. Fentanyl is a huge problem. It's a huge problem. You know why it's a huge problem? Because it's so potent. One drop needs to be split up into 50 or 100 or 200 pills. The average person doesn't have the equipment or the expertise to split that down into something that's safe. And that's why so many people have died. I think, you know what? I think it's one of my cats wanting in. I think it's that young one playing on the roof, maybe, is what I'm hearing. I'm not sure. Yeah, Red, things are going to happen. Thing is, the mushrooms were illegal and it didn't help, did it? Maybe if they were legal, they would be in a proper packaging and they would have been labeled properly and the person wouldn't have overdosed. I know that sounds crazy. And I mean, I don't want to use the damn things. I'm not saying this because I use any of this shit. But I'm just saying, think about that. He had to use it in the dark of night. He had to buy shit on the street that was grown under cow shit and over in Todd's backyard. And now he's all sick and all messed up. It would have been better to me for him to have gotten that legally somewhere, and then went somewhere where he could, do that. I'm a logical person, okay? And I step back. I don't look at the trees. I step back and I try to look at the forest. What does the forest look like from 10,000 feet in the air? When it comes to this whole drug thing, what the forest looks like to me, okay, is the fact that it's illegal creates a dangerous situation that's killing thousands of people a year. And you're like, well, if you just made it legal, thousands of people would die. Thousands of people are dying now because they're all getting shot over it. I'd rather just let them overdose, be done with it. It's the same number of people. That's the thing. We're not solving anything by making it illegal. The criminal justice system has never helped anyone other than themselves. It's a machine designed to run on its own energy, okay? And it goes out and it creates what it needs to create in order to run. We have 6 courtrooms this year. We need to get enough arrests so that we need 7 courtrooms next year. That way we can hire 2 more bailiffs, another clerk, another judge. They think this way. The whole purpose of making drugs illegal is to get you guys, not you guys, hard drug users into the system. Because once you're in the system, you're effed like Chuck, okay? Because the system is designed to bring you in and never let you out. It's like The Sopranos. They keep sucking me back in. It's what it is. Because they're going to send, every time you leave court, every time you leave the jail, there will be a piece of paper in the stuff they hand you. And on that piece of paper is a date and a time. If you don't go to court on that exact date and time, you're back in the system again. You're back in jail another year. And then they let you out again. You get a piece of paper. You have to look on that piece of paper and make sure that that piece of paper has a date and a time, and then make sure you're there. But you're poor. You work in a Immokalee. You don't have any money. You have no transportation. You're back in the system again. 6 more months. You missed the court date. Now we get to charge you. We get to fine you. Everybody gets to work with you. The public defender's office gets to defend you. The prosecutor gets to prosecute you. The corrections people get to correct you. The detention people get to detain you. And the cops get credit for their sergeant's exam. It's perfect for everybody. It's a perfect world, except for you. You're effed. Your picture's now on Google for the rest of your life. You're now got a felony. You'll never have a good job. You can never work for the government. You can never work in 2/3 of the private sector jobs. You can never work where you need to be trusted ever again. Because of something you bought to use yourself and not affect any other human on the face of the planet. How is that fair? How can people believe that that's fair? And how do people that have had family die from drugs not understand that whether those drugs were legal or not wouldn't have made a bit of difference? They still got them. They still got them. They still got them anytime they wanted them. All making it illegal did was make it dangerous for them to go get it and dangerous to consume it. We need to reallocate our money. Defund the police? Stupid. Stupid. But reallocate the police. Now we've got something. I think the police get about the right amount of money. I don't have a problem spending good money on good people to do good police work. I think it's important. Okay, I do. But that being said, it has to be good police work. And we have to police the police better and do all that kind of stuff too. But we need to stop ruining people's lives over things that were victimless crimes. And that's the key I want you to take away tonight. The term victimless crime. Okay, if they arrest you with a plant in your pocket, that's a victimless crime. There's no victim. You had it, you knew you had it, you were going to use it, you knew you were going to use it. There's no victim. You bought it legally, or I'm sorry, you purchased it from someone, you paid for it, that's legal, at least as far as you didn't steal it. And you're possessing it, whether it's legal or illegal, whatever. Why does it have to be a crime? Why do we have to do that? Why do we have to start ruining people's lives over this? I know somebody that got pulled over for a DUI when he was 23. He's 50 now. I've known this guy for a long time. I haven't spoke to him in years, but he's a good guy. Had a promising career. Got a DUI one night. Left a honky tonk, heading home, down 41. City cop pulled him over. DUI. Towed his car, called his wife, put him in jail. Now, do I believe in drinking and driving? No, I don't. I don't believe in it at all. As a matter of fact, it kills people. But we've gone a little overboard here. So they take this guy, they arrest him, they take his car. It cost him $700 to get his car back. He had $4,000 in fines by the time the whole thing was over. He had a crime on his criminal history. He had his mugshot on Google. And he had to have a business purposes only license for 12 months, I think it was. And the last I heard from him about 5 years ago, he told me that he still could not get a good job. No one will hire him. He applies. He's got that DUI arrest on his record, and people don't want him. His mugshot comes up. The criminal justice system didn't help him. They did. And so we have to weigh, is it worth ruining the rest of someone's life over a miscalculation one night? Maybe it was a dangerous miscalculation. Maybe it was really bad. Maybe we should allow the mad mothers to beat him up. But that's not the point. We ruined the rest of his life. That's the point. As a society, as a government, we ruined the rest of his life over an error in judgment that ended up not hurting anyone. So we didn't put him in jail for what he did. We put him in jail for what he could have done, basically. It is, Junior, it's time to try something different. That's all I'm saying. I'm not even sure what that is. But what we're doing now is not working. It's just not. Well, and see, I don't care to even lower the taxes. I would like to take all the money that's being spent on MRAPs and that's being spent on drug enforcement vehicles and all these extra drug enforcement transport vans and all these different specialty vehicles and the narcotics unit at this department and that department and this department and 2 narcotics units at the sheriff's department. It's ridiculous when you take all that and you get rid of it and you put all those cops back in a uniform and you put them out on the street and you tell them you have new priorities now. They're very different than before. I don't want to hear about drugs. I don't want to hear about people smoking dope. I don't want to hear about people with an open container between their legs. We need to stop with the chump bullshit and start arresting felons. Find people's shit and get it back to them. Find people's cars and find a way to get them back without destroying them. Find people's things. Find people's missing loved ones. Find children that are missing. Find exploited people. Find people that are being run here by human traffickers. Okay? That's what we need to be spending our time and our money on. Find the burglars that stole shit from our homes. That's what they should be spending those hundreds of billions of dollars on. Okay? And if the drugs are legal and they're inexpensive and they're available, they're not breaking into your effing house anymore, are they? Because the drugs are right there. They were breaking into your house because the drugs were illegal and they cost so much money. They were breaking into your house because the court fined them and they're... I actually arrested a guy one night crawling his ass out of someone's house. And I put him in the back of the car. And I said, what are you doing out burglarizing people's house? You know what he told me? He had a $1,000 fine from the court and he is not going back to jail. Well, you are going back to jail now. So he was breaking into a home to pay the court fines. The criminal justice system doesn't help anyone. It only serves to feed itself. Period. And I worked in it. I've seen it. And I work in the media reporting on it. It's not pretty. There's a lot of high-level corruption, and that's a different topic for a different night. I'm not even going to get into that tonight. We got a tyrant sheriff here. We've got a couple of other sheriffs nearby that are really good. I got one police chief in town that I like and another police chief in the other town that I don't like. So it's kind of hit and miss around here. There's a thing that goes on right now that's starting to push things back in our direction. There's been a lot of pushback by citizens when cops start violating people's civil rights. And I like to see that. When I was a cop, I used to see guys I worked with, they would walk that line. They go way past the line nowadays. They walk up, tell you, give me your ID. No one gets my ID unless I'm driving a car or I'm arrested. The moment you tell me I'm under arrest, I give my first, middle, last name and my date of birth, and you can't charge me with that. But you don't have to ever ID to a cop unless you're stopped in a car driving. No passenger in the car ever has to ID in any state. It's gone too far. It's gone too far. We've allowed these guys to run amok and not beware of our First and our Second and our Fourth Amendments. They got to the point where they don't like anybody carrying guns. I can carry a gun if I want to. It's a constitutional carry state. It has to be concealed, but I can carry anything. I can sling my nickel-plated .44 Magnum with a 6-inch barrel. I can wear it under a shoulder holster. I can wear it on my side, as long as I got something over it. It's a constitutional state, but the cops hate it. They freaking hate it. And so if they catch you with a gun, they give you a ration of shit, and it lasts 2 hours. They want to make you to where you don't carry the gun no more. Civil rights are so important. It's like constitutional rights. Your First Amendment, your Second Amendment, your Fourth Amendment. Those are probably the most important ones. The First Amendment grants you the freedom of speech. And under that, there's 5 facets. You have the freedom to assemble. That means you have the freedom to get together. You can all get together and you can all stand there and say, this sucks ass and we're not putting up with it no more. Okay? That's assembly. You have the right to assembly. You have the freedom of religion. You have the freedom to worship what you want, where you want. If you want to put a rug down on the steps and face Mecca and pray to the Quran, by God, do it. It's legal. The First Amendment covers journalism in every way. Okay? Remember, the Constitution, such an amazing document, was written 200 years before Al Gore invented the internet. And it still works today. It's amazing. First Amendment, it covers anyone, it covers citizen journalism. Okay? Citizen journalism. You do not have to have media credentials. I have media credentials. I don't pull them out. I don't even want anybody to know my name. I don't need credentials to be media. You don't need any credentials to be media. You can stop, pull your car down the road into a parking lot where it's safe, get out, run back up to that traffic crash as long as it's not on a limited access highway, like an interstate. You can run back up to that crash and you can stand at a safe distance, 30 or so feet away, and you can stand there and take pictures and video all day long. You can walk up and put a mic in people's face. It's what the media does. You're allowed to do anything that Channel 7 does. Anything. Okay? You are a citizen journalist. We're all citizen journalists, every single one of us. So be empowered by that. Go out and capture things. And when you find something that's not right, you go to your local media and give it to them. You be the citizen journalist that gets it out there. It's important. And then you've got the right to redress your government. You can literally tell a cop what you think about him and his body odor. You can literally say anything you want. Now, if you get too loud and you begin to disturb the peace, we run into other problems. But if you're quiet and you're calm, you can say pretty much whatever you want to a peace officer because you have the right to redress your government. This is all First Amendment. This is all covered under the First Amendment, the prime directive. Do you know why it's the First Amendment? Because without this, you have nothing else. China doesn't give free speech. Russia doesn't give free speech. When they were censoring us during COVID on Facebook, we didn't have free speech. We've been censored a lot in this country, and we have to fight against that. We cannot allow it. We literally have to fight against it. We have to make sure every day that we do what we have to do to fight against it. And then there's the Second Amendment. Just as important as the first, because if the first fails, we fall back on the second. The Second Amendment, the right to carry and bear arms. You got to know your rights and be able to do that. Whether you like guns or hate guns, it's that Second Amendment that keeps it to the point that no one will ever invade, because you know what? There's an average of one gun per household in the United States. There's actually more than that. No one will ever invade, and the government will never, try its bullshit. Because it's the Second Amendment. It's the way it is. Now, the Third Amendment, billeting troops, we don't even talk about that. But the Fourth Amendment, now that's an important one. This is the other one I wanted to talk about. The Fourth Amendment says that you must be secure in your persons, places, and effects. What this basically means is that and if I get one word wrong here, I'm doing all this from memory, guys. I'm not even looking at notes, so forgive me. I wasn't planning to give this speech tonight. But the point is you have to be secured in your persons and your effects. Your identification is one of those effects. Your name is protected by the Fourth Amendment unless you're driving a car arrested for a crime. There's a few states where if you are detained subsequent to the feeling that you have committed a crime, but they haven't arrested you yet, they can compel you to give your name. That's in rare cases. Most states follow the Constitution better, and you don't ever have to give your name. Passenger in a car, you do not have to give your name. That's the Fourth Amendment. The Fourth Amendment is so important. ID has become like crack to cops. I don't know what it is. It's literally become like cop crack. And they gotta have it, dude. Well, give me your ID. Give me your ID. I started watching First Amendment auditors a while back. There's a guy named John Paul Reyes that I like. He is Long Island Audit. If you guys have ever watched him, I'll give him a little plug on here. Long Island Audit. Long Island Audit. I'm not going to put the link, but you can put it in there and find it. He goes out and he just records. And he gets beat up, he gets arrested, he does all it, and he wins the lawsuits almost every time. He either wins or draws on the lawsuits. And every time he's ever been arrested, the charges have been dropped. And what he's doing is he's going around, him and about 50 other guys are going around using YouTube as a platform, and they are educating our cops on the fact that they cannot just walk up and demand your identification. They can't do that. It's against the Constitution. And so I kind of like it. Some of the guys cuss the cops out and they're unusually nasty to the cops. I don't watch those. I was a cop. I prefer the auditors that are respectful, at least up until the point that they're disrespected really bad. And I like the guys that do reflect the same level of respect that they get in the conversation. But it's important to test, like any muscle. If you don't use it, you lose it. And our rights are that way. I really believe that our rights are that way. If you don't use them, you lose them. And I think it's important that we make sure that we exercise those rights. Next time you're a passenger in a car, you don't have to give your name, dude. They're going to tell you you have to give your name. You do not. Now, if they want to get you out of the car, they can do that. They can do that in most states. But all they can do is make you stand there. They can't make you give your name. You know, cop walks up to you on the side of the road. You've done nothing wrong. You're walking down the road, and he tells you to sit on the curb and get out your driver's license. No, I'm not sitting on the curb, and I'm not getting out my driver's license. I've done nothing wrong. This is where, again, it gets me back to my original conversation. Why are we out harassing people that are taking pictures in front of a building on a sidewalk? Why? Why are we not out solving crimes? So few cops actually go to work every day and want to or engage in the solving of crimes. Most of the time, they either go in and answer calls or they go in and screw off. But they don't go in and actually work on getting your VCR back. Yeah. You know, if you realized how you were being tracked, you know, I got tag readers going in and out of my neighborhood. My sheriff's department photographs my vehicle every time it comes and goes from my neighborhood. They know how many people are in the car. They know everything about my car. And they know the exact time in and the exact time out, the speed I was traveling. These tag trackers are all over the county. The cities are running them. The county's running them. The state's running them. And what it does is it creates a footprint. And what'll happen, and what's already happened, is you'll drive out of your neighborhood one night because you got to go get your sick wife or your sick child some kind of throat lozenges up at the 24-hour convenience store or something. And so you get in your car and you drive up there and you get that and you drive back. A month later, they're investigating a murder that happened in your neighborhood. And they're looking for someone that did exactly what you did that night that you went to get those throat lozenges. And next thing you know, you're the prime suspect in a murder. How did that happen? It's a coincidence. But when data is collected at such an amazingly high rate, there will be a lot of coincidences that start to show up. And that's what we're starting to see. People that get arrested. There was a woman that was arrested getting off a cruise ship. The computer came up, the AI matched it, and the computer told him that the woman was on the boat. So he went and he arrested her. 56-year-old mother. He arrested her, put her in his car. She insisted that she had never done anything wrong. She had never been to the place where the warrant was out of. She had no idea what's going on. They arrested, they didn't care. They didn't give a shit. They put her in jail. She was in jail for days and days for Christmas. She missed her son's leaving for deployment. Her one son missed leaving for deployment. She spent the entire holiday in prison, in jail, in the county lockup. The woman that they thought she was 24 years old. She was wanted on a warrant for endangering a child, her child, in Texas. This woman was on a cruise ship in Palm Beach County, Florida. But the computer, they ran all the names through AI. And AI came back and said, hey, this woman is on a cruise ship that's going to be landing tomorrow in Palm Beach. That's how scary this is. And they went and arrested her. And when the cop filled it out, He didn't put the information off the warrant. He put the information off of her driver's license. So everything looked legit. Except the warrant had a completely different date of birth, a different middle name with the exception of the first initial. They were different heights. They were different weights. And the one was old enough to be the other one's mother. And she still spent Christmas in jail. And even after they discovered the mistake, it took 36 additional hours to get her released. It's disgusting. And it's because this programming that we have now, the computer said it was right, it's right. That's scary. Yeah, Galactic, there is the higher end cars started at first, and it's been working its way down. Now most cars are reporting some kind of data. Yeah, Junior, that's the thing. They're screwing with the auditors. The auditors haven't done anything wrong. So if the cops decide to screw with the auditors, that's on the cops. They didn't do anything wrong. They don't need to be effed with because they didn't do anything wrong. And that's the thing. It's like the cops are like, well, our job is to F with these guys. No, it's not. They're not doing anything wrong. I love when the cops walk up and go, I know you guys are those auditors. Yeah. And you fell for it anyway, you dope. Rope-a-dope. You fell for it. And you admitted that you were falling for it while you were falling for it. I don't get it. AI is scary, but it's necessary. I use it every day. I think it's amazing. And I think that anybody that tries to shy away from it is going to get left behind, just like anything else. A lot of people were left behind by the computer revolution, and they never caught back up. They never went to email. They were never able to do it. And the same thing with smartphones. I know people that are 70, 80 years old, and they don't have a smartphone. They've got a flip phone, or they use a landline. They just never were able to use a smartphone. AI is the same way. It's another new emergent technology here, and we have to learn it and stay with it and keep on top of it. I don't believe in any regulation on artificial intelligence. None. No regulation at all. And I'll tell you why. China has no regulation. Russia has no regulation. Indonesia has no regulation. No one else has regulation. So any regulation that our states or our federal government puts on AI in any way will stunt our growth. It will affect our future in this country to stay up on par. We have to continuously compete. We have to be building server farms by the hundreds right now in Texas, and we are. They're building entire power plants right now in Texas just to power server farms. It's crazy. They're doing whole server farms where the entire roof is solar panels, and they got a generating plant. AI takes so much electricity, and we are just building this stuff at a breakneck pace right now. And so if we stifle that growth in any way, China beats us to the finish line. Russia beats us to the finish line. We can't let that happen. We have to allow our people to build as hard and as fast as everybody else is. And we just have to be scary. Freedom is scary. We have to just deal with it. There's a guy that says that all the time, the civil rights lawyer. I love that guy. He's always says this at the end of every show. He always closes his show out with, freedom is scary. Deal with it. And that's how I feel. Freedom is scary. Deal with it. AI is scary. We got to deal with it, because if we don't deal with it and learn it and embrace it and be a part of it, later when it gets more advanced, we won't be able to stay ahead of it. We won't be able to control it, and many people will be completely left behind. Even though AI does everything, it's going to be very important that we can talk to AI. Prompting is becoming so important on AI. To be able to prompt it so that you can get it to do what you need it to do is becoming so important. And that's where the learning curve is. You watch that channel, Junior? Yeah. Oh, I love that guy. He breaks down the cases, and if he calls it like he sees it, man, I like that guy a lot. I when he's at the very end where he's playing the banjo on the back porch in West Virginia, I just want to be sitting on that porch smoking a stogie with him so bad. Oh man. Yep, yep, yep. Okay, I'm checking the chat room here. Yes, Galactic. There's ways around that. If you don't want, like, let's say you want to go to a PORN site and your state doesn't allow you to go to a PORN site or your country, all you have to do is download the Brave browser and go and open a private window with Tor, and you'll be able to visit whatever sites you want. I don't recommend giving your data or sending pictures of your driver's license to any company that you don't intimately trust and that is based in this country. To do this channel, I had to send a picture of my driver's license and a bunch of other stuff to YouTube. I had to prove to them who I was and that I was legit, which is fine. That's my broadcast platform. I'm okay with it. But then, now you've got sites where, oh, if you want to use this medical site, you have to verify that you're of age by sending in your driver's license. No, no. Oh, if you want to use this, if you want to order alcohol online, you got to send in your verification. Oh, if you want to do this, if you want to use this dispensary online, you have to send in a picture of your driver's license. Oh, if you want to do, and I don't do any of that. I don't like that. You know that little squiggly code on the back of your license? Every time that gets scanned, when you send that out, you send a picture. You ever wonder why they ask for a picture of the back of your driver's license? It's because that squiggly code on the back, the computer can tell if it can read that code. And it will approve your picture as long as it can read that code. Because that code has everything. It even has your weight and height and biometrics and ethnicity and where you've ever lived and what endorsements you have and what licenses you have. It has so much personal information all in that little quirly code in the back that I have a sticker over mine, and it says law enforcement only. And if the cop needs to see the little squirrely code, he can peel the sticker off. It's all about free speech. Without free speech, you have nothing. That's why I fight for these guys' rights to protest. I may not agree with what they're protesting. Sometimes I do, most times I don't. But I will fight for their right to protest every single day of the week. They've got to be able to do it. There's an executive order that just came out from the president's desk about flag burning. He has made it illegal to burn the flag. I am 100% in disagreement with the president on this. I believe that he's wrong. Free speech is absolute. We covered this for 90 minutes on our show tonight. The first 90 minutes of the show, this is what we did. And we took calls, and every other call was yes and no. The right is divided, the left is divided. It's an interesting topic right now, because there's people on both sides and in the middle that feel both ways very strongly, and it's very interesting to see how this is falling. I personally, I'm a constitutionalist, and I feel that the rights that are granted in the Constitution, the protections that you get, people don't realize that the Constitution, it's not a list of rights, it's not a list of responsibilities, it's not a list of things that happen. It's a list of protections that you have from the government. That's what makes the Constitution the most special document that's ever been made. Because unlike a lot of places, the Constitution is actually a list of what your government is not allowed to do to you ever. And if they do, they have to meet very specific criteria in order to do it, i.e. arrests and things like that. And I think that that's really important. It's so important. Um, Pedophilia. There's a big one. My God, could we spend that $200 billion we spent last year on fighting drugs? We could spend that money and get all the perverts. I'm for that. I mean, everybody that's driving around town in an old van with a bag of candy. I mean, we could start figuring this out, right? Um, yes, AIM. Yes. Um, it's an executive order. They can now arrest and jail you for burning the American flag. I don't agree with it. I don't. That's protected free speech. And you know what we said tonight? People were calling up and they're like, "Hey, I don't agree with you guys. I think that the president did the right thing. I believe that that it should be illegal. You should be arrested if you burn the flag." And you know what he asked them? My host is so good. He looks at me, he goes, "Hey," goes, "Okay, let's say burning it's illegal. What about if I whip it out and piss on it? Would that be illegal?" And a lot of them were like, "Yeah, that should be illegal." What if I put it in a jar of piss? Would that be illegal? "Oh, yeah, yeah." What if I shit on it? Would that be illegal? "Oh, yeah, that should be illegal too." Where does it end? So maybe it should just be illegal if we accidentally drop it on the ground, we get arrested. I mean, where do you draw the line? And then we would ask them, "Are you a Christian?" "Yes." "Can I burn your Bible?" "Can I burn my Bible? Do you mind if I take my Bible and burn it in the road? Do you mind? Does that bother you?" And a lot of these, they should make that illegal too. Okay, what about the Quran? Should that be illegal? Should you be able to burn the Quran? It's difficult, isn't it? Because as soon as you apply a restriction to free speech to one thing, it becomes two. It becomes a whole handful. It becomes a whole book of things that now are exceptions to the free speech, and that is unacceptable. Free speech is absolute. The Constitution must be absolute. The moment you say "but," it's worthless. It's worthless. If you say "but," it's worthless. I believe in the Constitution, but I don't think people should be burning flags. Everything after the "but" is bullshit. Because you should be fighting to protect the speech of your enemies. You should be fighting to protect the speech of the other side. If you're truly a conservative, if you're truly someone that believes in the Constitution, someone like me that's a constitutionalist, okay? Someone that believes in the letter of the Constitution, right down to the letter of the Constitution, then you should be perfectly fine with them burning a flag. You should be fine with them putting a Bible in a jar of piss. And you should be perfectly fine with them floating an effigy of Donald Trump down the highway. Because you know what? It's how you protect the speech that you don't want that defines you as a constitutionalist. You cannot be a constitutionalist unless you're fighting for speech that you don't like. If all you're fighting, you're only fighting the battle for your own speech, that doesn't count. You have to fight for the right of the guy that's speaking against you to speak. That's free speech. That's a constitutionalist. That's someone like me. I believe it's absolute. That's cool, Red. I'm glad to hear it. I just feel, you know what? You could be a constitutionalist and be in whatever party you want. The Constitution is universal. The Constitution should be loved and endeared by everybody, regardless of what side you're on. Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, Constitutionalist, Socialist. I don't care what party you're in. Independent, no party, no affiliation, NPA. Okay, I don't care. The Constitution should mean something to you, and it should be worth protecting. Look what's happening in England. Very good point, Red. Look what's happening in England. Their constitution's not near as strong as ours. Neither is the Canadian Charter of Rights, although it's getting pretty. It's not as bad. But in England and the UK, they don't have quite the protections we do. And now they go and they're beating on people's door and they're arresting them for Twitter because they put on Twitter, this guy's a piece of shit and I don't like him and I think that somebody should beat his ass. That right there, what I just said, would get you arrested in England right now. You're not allowed to offend people in England right now. They went from assault being a crime to an insult being a crime. That's dangerous. That's dangerous. That's dangerous. Because if we start enforcing feelings instead of laws, we're doomed. We're doomed as a nation. We're doomed as a race of people. You kidding me? Anyway, I feel like I'm on a rant tonight. All right, let's reset. My name's Ian. This is Starship Adventures. I'm sorry if you didn't sign up tonight for this rant, but it all started with a bunch of different things tonight. We talked a little bit about Cracker Barrel, and then we got into the president's executive order banning the burning of the flag, which I disagree with completely. Because I think what's going to end up happening now is the very next protest, they're all going to be out there burning the flag, and how are the cops going to deal with it? Then they're going to be using footage trying to arrest the people that burned the flag 2 weeks ago, and guess what? Now we're back to wasting money instead of catching the burglars, the robbers, the rapists, the pedophiles, and the killers. Which I think is where the priority needs to be. Like I said, I'm 100% against defunding the police. I think they should keep every penny they get. I want to completely reallocate what they're using it for. If you look at how much they spent on drug dogs, $1 million a year to keep 5 drug dogs on the road. Jesus God, what we could do with that money. And it's all just because that whole thing's a fake bullshit. You know that. The drug dog hitting on your, it's all fake. I know, I used to work there. It's bullshit. Of course it's going to hit on your car. If he taps on the door, the dog sits down. Boom, it's alerted. It's over. Your car's getting flipped. It's fake. They found a loophole around the Constitution. That's what drug dogs are. They're a loophole in the Constitution that's being allowed by our state governments. Yep, it's a crazy situation, really. Yes, Junior, they've been doing this for years. They were doing this when I was a cop. Every car, if the drug dog came out, the dog would sit and alert. It was trained to alert on cars, not drugs. I mean, let's face facts, okay? The whole thing's a sham. It's 100% a sham. I've known this for 30 years. What do you do about it? Nobody cares. Bacon. Oh my God. Oh, that's terrible. That's funny though. I know why that is, and the Middle East, the Middle East has moved into Europe. Like, you know, we say, look what's happening here with Mexico and Central America and South America and Brazil and Guatemala, and there, we've got for 4 years we had people running in here as quick as they could get here. They've got the same thing going on in Europe. Now, I'm not saying what's right or wrong or what needs to be done, but I'm just saying this is what's happening. In Europe, they got the same thing that's happening here going on there, except the people don't come from South America and Central America and Mexico. Over there, the people are coming from the Middle East and North Africa. The Middle East and Sub-Saharan Africa. and they're all moving all up into Germany and Italy and all the way out to the UK and even the upper UK, um, Scotland, Ireland, everywhere right now has an amazingly large influx. And they, because of their ideology, they embraced these people for a long time. And now all of a sudden they're trying to put the brakes on because now their culture itself is changing. Literally, town councils made up with 4 Muslims and 3 Christians. Counties, cities, boards, provinces. And what's happening is they're losing their culture. They've allowed literally an equal number of people from the Middle East move into their country that they had already, and they're actually have diluted their culture. They're changing their whole way of life over there. And they chose to do it. I think it's too late now. You can't put the genie back in the bottle. And even here, we're seeing the same thing here. Most places now, signs are in English and Spanish. I don't mind a lot of that. But we're seeing that here where our culture is changing to meet their culture in the middle somewhere. Some of that's okay, I guess. But it's the same thing. That's what's happening here. It's our folks south of here. There, it's their folks south of there, and that's what's happening. It's crazy. Yes, free speech in the UK is almost gone. Free speech hasn't existed in some time for some of the other countries over there. Yep. Oh, and be careful. You said it's nuts. Someone with a peanut allergy could easily have you arrested. That's dangerous. Um, yeah, all this flag thing that Trump signed today, all that's going to end up doing is causing more problems, I think. I don't know. Some of what he's doing it seems to be working. The economy stuff is doing great. I mean, everybody, all the economists 3 months ago said that we are on the way to ruin. We're done. As a country, we're ruined. These tariffs are going to ruin us. And all the numbers are looking good right now. Unemployment is down. Inflation is flatlined. Flatlined. This shit was up so high. 6 months, a year and a half ago, inflation was growing 15, 20% a year. It was crazy what we were doing with inflation. It's now flatlined. It's under 0.1% change month over month. It's flatlined. That means things are not getting any more expensive right now. That's all I care about. I don't care about the parties and the bullshit and all that. I want results. My groceries got so expensive that I no longer eat a lot of the things I used to eat. I mean, it's affected me in a lot of ways, and I want cheaper groceries again. So it's not as much about the party or the person. To me, it's the result. What is the result? For 4 years, everything got worse. Everything got more expensive. Everything got worse. Now, after 6 months, inflation has been arrested, completely arrested. It's flatlined. And gas is down 80, 90 cents from where it was 6 months ago. And I'm starting to afford things again. I bought all this stuff for my car. It's because I'm doing a little better. The economy's doing a lot better. And the inflation has been arrested. That's the important part. Yes, I know I threw out a pound of ground beef that turned on me the other day, and I cried a little bit. Yeah, it's terrible right now. How much things cost. But remember, it's not getting any worse. It's not getting any worse right now. We have arrested the fall. That's all that really matters. I don't even care what party's doing it, as long as it's getting done. We had to do something. We were literally on the road to hell. Elevator to hell, going down. Name the movie. 10 points. I'll give you another hint. Won't you put her in charge? Name the actor, you get the full 50 points. All right, let's see here. Galactica, no, it's not. I'm going by the national numbers. Inflation is stopped. Gas has gone down. You're telling me your gas has gone up there? Um, our gas has gone down 80, 85 cents here in 6 months. Um, yeah, we're like 220 something for gas now. It's come 240. I don't know. It's way down. Um, yeah, I mean at the grocery store, eggs have gone down some. I haven't really noticed it with anything else because I haven't really been looking specifically at anything else. But I do know that when I leave the grocery store now, I don't feel like I'm getting less than I did 2 weeks ago. There was a time last year where I would go to the grocery store and I would fill the buggy halfway and get 2 bags of cat food, and I'm at $300. And I mean, this isn't even enough food for me to last 2 weeks till I get paid again. And I'm spending $300. Um, I don't know. To me, it seems like it's relaxed a little bit. The good news is the unemployment rate is really low. Everybody's working. There's a job for anyone that wants a job right now. That's really good. The other thing that is really good is the fact that manufacturing is returning to this country in droves. There is factories that are going to be opening back up. There's factories being built. There's production lines going back in because of the tariffs. And everybody said these tariffs were going to destroy us. They were going to kill us. It was going to be really bad. And I'm not seeing that. I was worried too. I actually thought it was a stupid fuck idea. I'm like, who puts tariffs in? It's dumb. Now, they're different than other kinds of tariffs. There's different kinds. There's different ways that it's done. This one was done through a country by country negotiation. I get it. I understand what we're doing. It wasn't fair the way it was. Why should India charge a 60% tariff on anything that I send to India? But India can send stuff here for zero tariff. How is that fair? All he's doing is saying, look, if you're going to charge 60, we're going to charge 60. If you think 60 is too much, we agree. Let's charge less. And a lot of countries went almost all the way down to nothing. Because that's the way it should be. There should not be a tariff going one way and not the other. So you got to make it fair. And we were not being treated fairly. You know, China puts a huge tariff on any American goods that go into China. A huge tariff, like 70% or some shit. We put zero tariff coming out of China. That's what's wrong. I mean, that's a problem. And by doing the tariffs provide it revenue, of course. But that's not the primary purpose for doing a tariff. The primary purpose is to give you a fair playing field. So, hey, look, if you're going to tariff our shit 30%, that's fine, brother. We're going to tariff your shit by 30%. Now, if you want to come back to the table, we'll negotiate that shit down to zero if you want. But as long as you're charging 30, we're going to charge 30. That's fair. I don't see how people can't see that it's fair. I don't want to be tariffed 10 times, 70 times, 17 times more sending to a country than receiving from a country. That's bad business. It can't happen. Wow, that's expensive for gas. Yeah, gas is not that high here. Um, Yeah, there's been some places that have already switched to the new tariff prices. I know that I just bought a Chinese radio for $17, and I understand that China's eating most of it because that's the same price that radio's always been, but yet that's the adjusted price. So I don't know. I don't know, guys. All I'm telling you is, here's the thing. It's what the people chose, like it or don't, and let's wait and see what happens. Okay? We can hate, we can throw rocks, we can yell and scream and cuss, and the point is, none of us can change it. Let's see what happens. Let's wait and see what happens, because what I'm seeing so far is encouraging. I mean, I like to see, I like to see manufacturing returning to our country. I like to see the means of production returning to our country and being owned and operated by our country. I think that's important. And of course, the inflation rate being arrested, that's huge. That's freaking huge. Well, Rippin, I don't agree with that because, first of all, we're being, as a country, very upfront about what we're taxing, how we're taxing it, where we're taxing it, when we're taxing it. There's no secrets here. My God, turn on CNN, Fox, or MSLSD and you'll hear it all day long. I mean, it is what it is. Number two, tariffs are a tax. Nobody have any illusion about that. Tariffs are a tax. I don't like them either. Okay? They're designed to bring us a fair playing field. Okay? If they bring in revenue that we can use to pay down the debt or that we can use to whatever we need to use it for, that's a plus. But that's not the primary reason we do tariffs. We do tariffs to help the economy. To help the economy by evening the playing field where China's charging 70% tariff and we're charging 0. We want to even that playing field up to where our goods that are being sold there are worth a lot more money now because they're not being tariffed heavily. And our companies will want to build their stuff here because there'll be an incentive to do that. So it's threefold. It's the taxes, which help the general fund for the country at a time when we've got a lot of debt to pay off. And of course, it allows companies to play on an even playing field with other countries. That's important. But I think it's even more important to see that one country and next country, that everybody's on an equal playing field, and that if your country wants to charge way too much tariff, that's fine. We're going to charge the same thing to you. And that's it. And then that brings number 3, the factories return here so that they get the benefit of not being tariffed. So it's a win-win-win, I guess. Still makes me nervous. I agree. Yes, the tariffs are, and it's measurable. Hundreds of companies now moving back here. The buildings are here. The machines are even here. We got to turn the lights back on in these factories. And a lot of these factories are in right-to-work states. And that works out. We got to get these right-to-work states going. Union states, you guys drove the labor away. I don't know if you get any of that back or not. But states like Florida and Georgia and Tennessee, right-to-work states like Texas, places like that, we are welcoming it with open arms. Build your factories here. Build your factories here. And it's working. We even give tax incentives and shit down here if you want to build stuff. Florida's growing by leaps and bounds right now. Yes, Apple is bringing most of their manufacturing back to the United States. Yes, dye and mold makers, you're absolutely correct. We are even lacking exactly all the different technological people that we would need to fill all the roles. But guess what? We have legal immigration, we have visas, and we simply bring the people over. They used to run the plant in Beijing, no problem. We're going to bring you over here to be the second in command of our plant. And we're going to bring you over on a 3-year visa. That's no problem. We can do that. So I see this as a positive thing. I'm not glooming and dooming this because you know what? Love him or hate him, Donald Trump usually accomplishes what he puts his mind to. He said he was going to bring peace. He's got North and South Korea about to sit down again. They're still under a damn ceasefire from the 50s. Are you kidding me? And he's bringing them together. So I'm like, love him or hate him, at least hang out and see how the show comes out. You know what I mean? Hillary Clinton said if he could pull off this Russian thing, she would apply for him to get the Nobel Peace Prize. And now they're going to trilateral. It's going to happen. I honestly believe we're going to end all this bullshit. Taiwan, China, North and South Korea, Iran. We just bombed the shit out of them, whatever. And then Russia, Ukraine. Every one of those is on the table to be worked out right now. So let's let the guy do it and see what happens. If he F's it up, we'll all sit there and point and laugh and call him names, and we'll hire a new guy the next time around. But at least note that no one's ever tried this before. Everybody goes to Washington. They promise everything. I promise I'm going to go to D.C. and I'm going to root out the corruption and I'm going to get to the bottom of the problems and I'm going to allocate more money for social programs and I'm going to... Jesus God. And they all go up there and they do the same exact thing with few exceptions. And that's Republicans and Democrats. They all go up there and they do the same thing. Nothing. They get inside that beltway and they get their head up their ass and they start flying the plane. That's all they do. It's bullshit. And love him or hate him, he's going up there and he's breaking shit. He's going up there and he's taking shit that's not working and he's trashing it and he's gutting it out. And then he's allowing people to put it back and let's get it fixed and let's get it going. Yes, smartphones. If we can get if we could get some smartphone manufacturing going in this country, I'm telling you that would be amazing. I don't know, guys. I'm telling you, regardless, I'm telling my left-leaning friends and my right-leaning friends the same thing. Okay? You're on the bus. You're going to the destination with the rest of us on the bus. You can either throw shit at the guy driving the bus, or you can just sit back and see where the bus is going. I'm voting for just sit and see where the bus is going. In a couple years, in a year and a half, we get a chance to pick House and Senate again. We'll see what happens. 2 years after that, a big presidential election. It's going to be a big one. It's going to be crazy. Let's see what happens. There won't be an incumbent. All I'm saying is we're on the bus. He's driving to the next stop. You might as well just see what's going to happen because no one's ever gone up there and broke shit. He broke it. He went up there and smashed it. You know why they're so mad up there at him? Because it was their little system, their little plan. They don't care about you and me. The Democrats, the Republicans. None of them care about you and me. They don't care. They don't give a shit. And he said, I'm going to go up there and break that whole freaking town. I'm going to blow it up, mess it up, and I'm going to fix it back. No one's ever done that before. Not even Ronald Reagan was able to accomplish that. And I just think that there's been two different Democrats in the past, another Republican before Reagan. I'm not going to get into names because I'm bad. That tried to make fundamental change. It rarely happens. And now we got a guy that's not just trying to make fundamental change, but he is making fundamental change. And I just say, hey, let's ride the bus and see where it leads, because I was certainly not happy with Washington. I was not happy with Washington during Bush. I was not happy with Washington during Obama. I was not happy with Washington during even parts of the first Trump. I wasn't happy with Washington. Haven't been happy with Washington for Biden. Didn't like either one of the Bushes that much. It's like, it's been shit for so long. We got a guy in there that's smashing shit, fixing it and breaking it and fixing it. I'm like, let's just do it. Oh, yeah, there's globalists everywhere. I don't understand globalism. I don't understand how someone can be born and want nothing but globalism their whole life and then die. It's like, what did you accomplish? Rippin, I disagree with the way you stated your question. Let me put it that way. I don't believe that us owning and having the ability to make and manufacture our own goods and foods and stuff like that, I don't look at that as a step backwards. When all of our medicines are being made overseas, that's a problem. It is. If you can't see that, it is. Even if all of our furniture was made in one country, that would be a problem. And what we need to control our own means of production. Okay? I'm not saying that we should only buy Fords, Chevys, and Dodges. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is we should have our own factories making our own cars. You can still buy a Japanese car. They're actually really good. I actually love Korean cars, Kia and Hyundai. I got a Hyundai now that I love. So I'm not saying you shouldn't be able to buy foreign cars, but we should always be making cars here. So if they quit making cars there, we can still have cars here. I don't care whether it's toilet paper or tacos, okay? We should be able to make it here. It doesn't all have to be made here, but we should be able to make a lot of it here so that we never get stuck like we were before. During COVID, these supply chain problems, a lot of them, were because we're wearing these masks. 90% of the masks were made in China. The same people that created the virus. If you guys can't see that, China made billions on COVID because they had the means of production and we didn't. And then when that coronavirus was unleashed on us, whether it was an accident or on purpose, I'll leave that for another show. That happened, and they were the only ones that could make our masks. They were the only ones that could make our respirators. They were the only ones that could make all the things and the parts and the medicines that we needed. And that's what I'm talking about. That's unacceptable. We need to have so much of it here. It's not a step backwards for us to be able to produce everything here to some degree. That's not a step backwards. I think we should always keep the means of production here in this country, at least some of it. Yeah, you make a lot more money than me, and I produce professional radio. But I wouldn't work in a factory. I couldn't stand it. Any kind of repetition with me, even if I have music in my ears, if I'm not actively doing something, or I always have to be doing something creative or something where I'm building something for later or doing so. I have very specific things I like to do, and producing radio seems to be good. Um, yes, factory jobs will slowly be taken by machines and completely taken by machines. And then it will just be the humans that program and monitor and fix the machines that will be hiring. But that's not the point. The point is we will have the means to make the products here. They'll be our machines making the products. And just like every time in the past, you know, there was a time when the seamstresses around the country rose up because they invented the loom. And the seamstresses said, look, you know, hey, this is going to literally take our work away. What are we going to do with our lives, you know? And then it was just a few years later that they invented the automobile. Well, it's probably a couple hundred years later. They invented the automobile. The horse breeders all around the country were up in arms. Look, what are we going to do? 5 generations breeding horses. That's what we do. How are we going to live? Every generation has the Captain Dunsel. It has the position that gets eliminated. Okay? And if anybody can name that reference of what episode of Star Trek that was, I'll give you 25 points for that. I don't think anybody got that movie from earlier, did you? Did anybody get that? Tell me. I don't think anybody did. Elevator to Hell, going down. That's Paxson. What's his name? He died a while back. He was in Twister. His name's Paxson. He played a tough coward in Aliens, and those were his lines. I loved him in that movie because at one point they're like standing around, and Ripley tells him, "Look, she survived here for 17 days by herself," and he looks at her and he goes, "Won't you put her in charge?" I love him in that movie. He's just so good. We've got a washer and dryer here, but I'm on well water, and I hate the well water. And it makes my clothes, it doesn't clean my clothes well. So now that I'm living here by myself, every 2 weeks, I have 2 weeks worth of clothes. And every 2 weeks, I throw it all in my trunk, and I drive up and I use the Speed Queen laundromat up at Weaver's Corner. And they have all Speed Queen equipment in there, and it's good shit, man. It cleans my clothes. I use them big old washers, man. I could crawl up inside that thing. God, I wish I had those commercial units at my house. But then again, I would still have this GD water here to have to deal with. Yeah, look, my well water at the cabin is better than my city water down here. We get mountain water. Shit that you can like literally just fill bottles and sell it. Right out of the ground, out of my mountain at 3,000 feet. You come down to Florida, the water that comes out of the ground here is disgusting. It's full of metal. It's got iron in it. It's got sulfur in it. It's disgusting. Yuck. I aerate it. I filter it. I soften it. And it's still garbage. It's funny because I actually thought about that. I was sitting in there. I had like 5 minutes to kill. And I actually was looking at all the machines, and I noticed they were Speed Queens. And it's funny you mentioned that because I never would have probably even put 2 and 2 together. But that whole laundromat uses that kind of equipment. They're all the stainless ones. They're all front loaders, except they do have about 8 of the like residential style, but everything else is uprights, and they lots of dryers. They're all Speed Queen. Yeah. Like I said, I can get ours to work here, but I don't bother with it. I don't want I don't want to have to wash my clothes in shit water just because, whatever. Anyway, all right, I'm going to take topic suggestions while I take a quick look over here. The tropics are quiet. There's really nothing we need to talk about tonight on the tropics. There is nothing to talk about in the tropics. It's freaking August 25th. We're coming into the busiest month of hurricane season in another 6 days. And right now, there is nothing going on in the tropics. It's dead. I mean, there's really nothing even to show you. There's nothing on the models. There's nothing showing up anywhere. So it's kind of a waste. I did want to mention there is one fire we're watching called the Orleans Complex. It's in Northern California, and this may be our next big one up there. Um, they've got aircraft working it, and it's not much. I don't have much to show you, but it is what it is. It's 22,000 acres right now. So, um, yeah, there's really nothing to show there. I did want to go back over here real quick and take a look and see. I did have the top 10 headlines. We got the California wildfires. Crews are battling multiple large blazes fueled by extreme heat and winds in northern California. That's going on right now. Hawaii's Kilauea volcano activity. New lava flows have been detected. Scientists are monitoring closely. A couple days ago, we had a little bit of a geyser coming out of there. It was pretty good. Alaska earthquake swarm. Dozens of quakes rattle the Aleutians in the past 24 hours. And let's see, I can go ahead and we can take a peek at that. Blam. Yeah, lots of activity. Let's go ahead and get that up for you guys. Um, all right, here is your seismic information, your seismic monitor. Look at this. We've got some big activity. That's a big one there. Holy shit. Let's see what this one is. That's a 6. That's a magnitude 6. And that's going to be east of Kuril Island. Um, and that's going to be on the Russian Peninsula over there. This is all back in that same spot again. Remember, it was right up here where we had that big one before that caused the tsunami warning. This is a pretty big one out here. If it gets much bigger than that, we could be dealing again with a tsunami warning. So, and then let's see, there was a few other really big ones here. Uh, this is the Fuji Island region, and there was a 5.6 down there, and a lot of them. A swarm over here, 4.8, 4.9, 4.8. That's all over there. New Zealand, Russia, New Zealand and Australia area. And then we had another one over here, Central Asia. And then, like I said, that cluster there. And then we've had a few minor ones all around Alaska up here, some minor ones being reported. Minor ones down here also, including a 4.9 south of Panama. That's 4.9s. That'll knock the shit off your shelves if you're not careful. Wow. So yeah, it has been busy, seismically speaking. Um, it has definitely been a little busier than normal today. All right, and let's see. We had a severe storm outbreak in the Midwest. Nothing real severe, though. No long track tornadoes or anything. We're really not in the time of year when we get long track tornadoes. That's more of a spring thing. Um, some in the fall, but mostly a spring thing. Yeah, I bought a fridge and it has a USB plug in it. It's like, what the fuck's that for? Oh God. Yep. Let's see. I don't know if I got any cats tonight. I don't know who I got out here. I'll go take a look real quick. See if I got anybody outside here. Mama, you want to come in? What do we got out here? You want to come in? Ed's already in bed. Ed's already in bed, but Mama Kitty was out there. Mama Bleep. Mama Bleep. You gonna say hi to everybody? You gonna show them your ass? All she does is come in here and love on the microphone. I don't know why I bring her in, but hey. They were asking about you, Mama. Such a good kitty. Yeah. Oh, that's that sphere right above me here. That's that. That's the sphere in Vegas. If you're wondering what that, it's not a. It's not a planet on a collision course or anything like that. uh, a water heater has to be hooked up to the internet. Oh my God. See, I buy. I when it comes to appliances, I usually buy bottom, just standard appliance. I don't buy the fancy ones at all. I just buy the standard appliance. Yeah, I'm not doing all that. It's bad enough. Our city down here now, if you want to park in a city parking space, you have to download an app and give them all your information. This third party company, and all this. It's really been a point of contention around here. I hate public parking. I've got a real problem with paid park. I own that spot. If I pay city taxes, then I partially own that city parking space. I shouldn't have to pay to use my parking space. I go to a county park, I don't have to pay to park. Oh, I do on some of them. How can you charge me to park on shit that I own? Man, that makes me mad. I don't think the government should be allowed to charge you for parking on property that you own. Right, Mama? Right, big girl? The problem with this cat is she's insatiable. You can pet her like this for an hour, and she'll still not leave you alone. Our electric bills here have gone up a little bit. We took about a 4% increase in the last 2 years on our electric bill here, and that's because a lot of it is because of recovery from storms and stuff like that. Yeah, electric bills have gone up, but not that much. Okay, if your electric bill went up 50%, something's wrong. You've got something in your house that's eating up electricity, or something is wrong with your meter, or something is wrong somewhere, because no one in this country saw more than a 20% rise in their electric bill in the last couple of years. So I'm just saying, if it went up 50%, something's wrong. I forget what state you're in. I mean, there's some states like California where the electricity costs twice as much as it does here. Literally twice as much. Gas costs twice as much as it does here in California. people have no idea. It makes a big difference where you live, how much your energy costs are. We do okay here. You know why our electric bills are so high here? Not as much because of anything other than everything gets ripped out every time we have a hurricane, and so these companies have to constantly be charging us and putting the money away so that they can get our lines all back up after the hurricanes come through. Um, that's been the reason for the increases we've had here. Wow. Yeah, Galactic. I haven't heard anything like that. The FPNL here asked for 3%, and I think they got it. Um, our electric co-op says that there's a rise coming on the horizon, um, 3 to 5%, something like that. I'm not seeing big numbers. Now, I know in some states the electric bills are nuts. You're paying literally double per kilowatt in California what I pay in Florida per kilowatt. And it's funny because 2/3 of your energy is renewable and only 1/3 of mine is. Yet I pay half as much. It's weird how that happens. I tell people, it sounds crazy, but if you're going to retire, you got to retire down here, man. You got to retire here because there's no income tax, no Florida income tax. And people make all that money up in those states, and then they bring it down here and they retire down here, and then they spend it down here, and we love that. um, yeah. Again, what climate change would that be? We have the same temperatures we've had for years. Um, Al Gore said we would have feet of water in the streets of Miami. Tide hasn't rose 1 inch in 40 years. This whole thing has been alarmist. It's all alarmist. They said for 30 years that an ice age was coming and we were all going to die. Acid rain, hole in the ozone layer, you name it. There's been a calamity for the time. Every age there's a calamity. And this global warming and the climate disruption is no different. You can't say that I don't trust the government and then turn around and say, well, the global warming's real. I mean, that's the government telling you that you got to give up freedom and give up money today so that they can fix something 100 years from now that none of us will be alive to even be held accountable for. It's kind of crazy when you think about it. Oh wow, that's interesting. Yeah, we get a little bit of our power from the Turkey Point nuclear power plant, but most of our power comes from natural gas. Other than the heat, people like it here. I mean, the heat's a little much for some. It's a little much for me, and I was born here. Right, Mama? Your tongue's sticking out. She's just living up to her name, Mom Bleep. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy to think uh, that we are affecting this globe that seems to correct itself. Up until 1985, they thought we were all going to die of an ice age. I actually have an episode of Nova where Leonard Nimoy, the guy that played Mr. Spock, is talking about how there won't be enough heating oil to keep us all alive by 2020. That we were probably going to all freeze to death, and that everyone in the entire country would have to move to the tropics, and everybody would have to move south of the Mason-Dixon line, and even then it would be hard to survive because we would run out of heating oil. Well, guess what? Running out of gas never happened. They've been saying we're going to run out of gas. Peak oil, remember all that bullshit? They've been saying we're going to run out of gas all these years. Nope. You want to know what happens? We stop pumping out of a well. We come back 5 years later, we tap it again. It's full of oil again. The Earth's making the shit faster than we can use it. They were wrong about that. They were wrong about the coming ice age. They've been wrong about everything. So why would we believe now that something's different, something's changed? Al Gore said 30 years ago, okay, we're coming up on 30 years, that he said the tides would be running 2 feet down through the middle of Miami. I've got clips of that man saying that much of Florida would be uninhabitable by 2020. He said that literally water would be in the streets of Staten Island by 2020. And that they would be having crops and problems and famine. They also said that the world's population would be so large we wouldn't be able to feed ourselves. They were wrong on that one too. They've been wrong on every single prediction that they've made. The Earth's population is almost stable. Did you know if you take illegal immigration out of the United States' numbers, we're reducing population every year. We're at net zero right now. You know, the only continent right now that's producing humans faster than they're dying is Africa. And they say in another 35 years that will finally, eventually abate itself as well, and we'll be down to the point that our entire existence on this earth will begin to shrink. We're almost at net zero now when it comes to new lives. We are almost have just as many born as are dying right now on this planet. So the whole overpopulation thing never happened. The hole in the ozone that was going to kill us all never happened. The acid rain that was going to kill us all never happened. The polar shift, pole reversal was going to kill us all never happened. The melting ice caps raising the water up feet never happened. Tides are the same now as they've been for 40 years. So the point I'm trying to make is they have yet to make a prediction that has come true. So why should we believe the one today? Even all the predictions about global warming never happened. All the predictions about the coming ice age never happened. All the predictions about all those other things I mentioned never happened. It's not that I don't it's not that I don't want to believe this or I don't think I need to believe that or any of that. It has nothing to do with politics. It has nothing to do with anything. It has to do with science. It has to do with science. And when you start looking at the science, what small, little, minute amounts of warming there has been can all be explained by the heat island effect and the urban encroachment on monitoring sites. Every bit of it. There is no global net warming. It's not going on. No, the world does not agree that climate change is real. See, that's the problem. You call it something vague like climate change, and then you get everybody to agree with something. There is no consensus at all. In fact, there is no scientific consensus as to what exactly humans are doing or not doing to the long-term climate of the planet. There just isn't. And the only people that believe that are people that read all their information from Facebook or whatever. The truth is, there is no scientific consensus. Okay? There's none. You have large groups of scientists in both camps on this one. Scientists that are non-political. Scientists that are looking at the facts. So, just because the United Nations, which is one of the largest corrupt organizations in the entire world, of course they agree with it. whatever. It's one of those things. Why has nothing that they said gonna happen happened yet? Nothing. The storms are no stronger now than they used to be. The Great Galveston Storm of 1900 was most definitely a Category 5. The Florida storm in 33. I can name a bunch of storms that happened 100 years ago that were Category 4 and 5 storms. There's just as many storms now. We don't count them the same way. We don't discover them the same way. So the numbers are different. But we still have signs that 1,000 years ago there was Category 5 storms. There's signs. We research these things. So regardless of whatever it is, whether we're talking about 1 degree rise in temperature over 100 years, carbon, extra carbon in the atmosphere, they said the carbon was causing it. You know, all that extra carbon in the atmosphere that they keep bitching about actually makes everything grow better. And when things grow better, it brings temperature down. The Earth has a way of correcting itself. It fixes itself. That's why as soon as we start heading for one calamity, suddenly it goes away. We start heading for another calamity, oops, suddenly it goes away. Because the Earth is a natural system. And that system is correcting itself. People on the planet are natural. Our cars, our gasoline, everything is natural. It was all from here. Everything from Earth is on Earth. It is from Earth. And I don't, and people forget about that. It's like all this stuff was here. And if people could point to one prediction from 30 years ago that came through, just one. The ice caps didn't melt. The polar bears didn't die. The water didn't rise in Manhattan. The basements didn't flood in Baltimore. All the things that they said were going to happen. You can go back and watch any of Al Gore's talks from 30 years ago and check them off one at a time. They didn't happen. So after 30 years of none of it happening, and 30 more years before that of none of those calamities happening, the best thing we can do right now is just continue to work to make cleaner things, make cleaner energy. The free markets are fixing the problem. Regulation just ends up screwing it up. If every single thing in America was done to the best of our ability, as far as pollution and things like that, greenhouse gases and all that, if everything that we could do was being done 100%, it would make a 5% change in the world. There's countries out there that put out 2 or 3 times the amount of carbon per day that we do. So, and is it going to change? You know what the Earth has done to fix itself, just like it always does? The Earth always fixes itself. No matter what the emergency is, no matter what happens, the Earth fixes itself. Our population is going net neutral. Is that not just the Earth fixing itself? The Earth is literally making it to where less and less and less of us are having babies. I don't know what's causing it exactly. It's mostly because people are professionals and are not having 50 kids because they don't have a farm anymore. But regardless, the Earth fixes itself. And here it is again, fixing itself. Our population is net neutral. Our population in 100 years will be less than it is today. Quite a bit less. And not because of the end of time, not because of Mad Max or any of that. It's going to be because as we become more educated and more sophisticated, we have less children. It's just that simple. And the children we do have are smarter. They're brighter. They can get more done with their brain. And so our whole society is raised like the tide. And we did it all while we're reducing the overall population. I think that's the Earth fixing itself. So when they start talking about how in 100 years we're going to rise 1 degree Celsius, did you take into the fact that there's going to be millions less people 100 years from now than there is today? And most of our electricity will be solar panels, not because the government subsidized it, but because people actually started making them cheap enough and found ways to make them without all the precious metals. And we were finally able to make an efficient solar panel. Finally able to make wind turbines that don't kill thousands of birds and have to be torn down every 15 years and replaced. In 100 years, we're going to be easy on this planet compared to today. And we never needed Al Gore to do it. We never needed John Kerry to do it. We never needed threats of global climate, this and that. The Earth is fixing itself, like it always does. We have to have faith. We're slowly transitioning to better sources of power. We're learning how to make better batteries, although that technology is not moving very well. And all the things are happening that need to happen to get us to that point where we're easier on the planet. But the key is it's all being done despite all the government bullshit and all the conferences and all the meetings and all the UN and the climate this and the offsets that and all this bullshit. None of that's going to mean a thing in the future. What's going to really matter is where we're at. And where we're at is, in 100 years, our population will be seriously reduced. Our greenhouse emissions will be seriously reduced without any regulation or threats or anything else. It'll still happen. And the Earth will be a better place. I have faith in that. I have faith in this planet. This planet knows what it's doing. It's almost spooky. We start screwing it up somehow, it fixes itself. It's amazing. And so I think we just need to stop the alarmism. That's my opinion. I just think we need to stop the alarmism. Am I not saying we shouldn't take steps to get more people in electric cars or build more solar panels? I'm fine with all that. I love technology. I love advancement, you know? But we got to temper what we do and not be unrealistic. We still need factories. We still need things that build things. We still need to make plastics. There's a lot of things that still need to be done on this planet. We can't just stop doing it. So all I'm saying is let the planet fix it itself. It is. With new technology, and plus our reducing population, the planet's already on the way to fixing itself. And that's the bottom line. Yes. Red, there's been parts of most of this world has been above or below the water at one point or another. There's been drastic changes. That's why I said the planet changes drastically over millions of years, but it doesn't change drastically over 100 years. And that's what we deal with in our lifetime is 100 years. And so I look at it from how different was the planet 100 years ago than today. And it really wasn't. Yeah, galactic, I know, and we're creating ice in other parts of the planet too. You can always go to anecdotal things, like you can always say, hey, if you look over here, all this is melting. But you have to look at the total ice, the planetary ice. You have to look at if it's melting here, is it building there? While one part of Antarctica is seeing record heat, another part of Antarctica is seeing record cold. So, I mean, I just don't buy it. And besides, any numbers that you get from the government or any numbers that you get from these far left leaning climate alarmists is all skewed numbers anyway. Even NASA has admitted that they've skewed their numbers over the years, based on algorithms, and they've had to come back off some of their heat stuff over the years because of that. Um, it's actually been seen that small amounts of heat rise can be seen on these gauges because, look at it this way. Okay, you've got a NOAA official weather reporting station sitting out on the highway by the cornfield, and that's where it sits. It's where it sat in the 60s. That's where it sat in the 70s. But in the 80s, they built a highway nearby, and in the 90s, they built a supermarket across the street. And then in the 2000s, they built a mall on the other side of the street. So now, this weather station that used to sit next to a cornfield by a dirt road is actually now in a mall parking lot. And yeah, it averages about a degree warmer than it did 10 years ago. But that's simply heat island effect. It's an effect caused by the fact that as we build more cities, they get closer and surround the weather reporting stations. I mean, it's simple science. Um, Yeah, it's true, Junior. As a matter of fact, one large volcanic eruption puts out as much greenhouse gases as we do in 10 years. So yeah, it's crazy when you look at the way this planet is able to clean itself. Basically, it's just like a babbling brook will clean the water in so many feet. The Earth's the same way. It literally cleans itself. It's an ecosystem, and no matter what happens, even if Mount St. Helens goes off, 10 years later you'll never know it even happened. The forest has grown back. Everything's growing. Everything's happening. Everything's going. That's the way the Earth is. It completely fixes itself, and that's why I've become my faith on the planet is that it's going to just take care of us just fine, and I do believe that. Yeah, again, it's if you read what the climate alarmists write, then you're going to become very alarmed. It's true. Um, I don't know what to say other than you keep telling me I should read both sides or I should find out on the. I do. I study both sides. As a matter of fact, the climate change argument is probably one of my top five debate things that I love to debate. Um, and I don't debate. I debate on the side that the Earth's just fine. That's what I did. I debate on the side that the Earth is just fine. People need to chill. It's alarmism. The Earth is fine, and then we go from there. One solar flare could change the Earth in ways that it would take humans 1,000 years. So I mean, the forces are so different. The power is so different. The Earth creates one wave and it kills 200,000 people, and then we turn around and we think that we're actually like affecting things by putting out certain gases and things. It's just, it doesn't. The Earth cleans itself. Yeah, yeah. I have not studied the cycles, but I'm familiar with what you're talking about. I do know that there's a lot of things that have to do with our climate that they don't consider. The Earth's orbit around the sun is a big one. We can have close orbit. We can have a farther out orbit. We can orbit um, a north or a south declination. There's different, yeah. And also, the solar cycle is big too. I tend to see bigger hurricanes and stuff like that. Um, seem Hurricanes seem to really juice up good when we have auroras and we're being bombarded from space with energy. I don't know if there's a direct correlation. I think with AI, we're going to soon find out because we're able to run these kind of things. Um, but yeah, I do believe that there's so many different things that affect this planet, like we talked about. Solar wind that brings energy that comes into the planet, the star, our sun. My God, the energy that's put out by our sun on a second by second basis is just crazy. One flare could wipe us out. Um, and then you look at the size, just the overall size of the planet, and the I don't know, it's just amazing to me. Now, Junior, that's something I worry about. I worry about humans creating things like electromagnetic pulses and things like that. Absolutely. Um, yes, Galactic. That was called the Tendusky event, and that what happened on. Oh no, wait a minute. Um, I believe I got that right. It was in 1859, and what happened was um, they named it after the astronomer that actually watched it through a solar telescope. He actually drew a picture of it. We have that. Um, but it was a prominence on the sun, and it was a magnetic bubble that collapsed. The plasma splashed out at us, and next thing you know, teletype stations around the country were catching on fire, and they could send messages without the generators and batteries being connected. Um, had that happened today, it would have plunged half the Earth into darkness for weeks or months. It would have put us in the Stone Ages. Um, it's kind of scary to think about it, actually. And that's a 1 in 100 year event that happened 150 years ago. So do the math on that one. We're in a solar max right now. The chances of that happening now are a little higher than they will be in a couple of years. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to say that, hey, our cars might raise the temperature 1/2 of 1 degree Celsius in 100 years, when literally the sun dumps this much energy on us on a weekly basis. If the output of our star were to increase by just 1 or 2% over the course of 5 years, it could kill us all. I mean, it's a delicate balance we have with our star. And again, I think sometimes we just worry about the wrong things. Yep. Dom, I do believe there's a correlation. And I think that, again, with AI, we're going to be able to explore more of these correlations. Um, the Carrington event, thank you very much. The Tuskegee event was the explosion that happened over Russia with the re entering um, meteor. And I get those two names mixed up, the Carrington and the Tuskegee events. But anyway, yeah, the Carrington event, look it up. I think it was 1959. And we were, there was an Earth directed event, and we were sun facing. And so we ended up taking it on the chin. Luckily, all we had was railroad tracks and telegraph stations. Railroad tracks were shocking and killing people, and the telegraph stations were catching on fire. It was crazy. Um, there was some other anomalies. Um, People woke up in the mines out in Arizona. They woke up at 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. The sky was bright green. They thought it was sunrise. They got up and went into the mine and started working. They didn't find out till hours later when people showed up at the mine and the guys weren't out there. They were down in the mine. They're like, "What are you doing?" And they're like, "We've been down here for hours." And they're like, "Well, it's the middle of the night. What are you doing?" It's just now morning. Um, there was a man in Jamaica that was able to read his newspaper by the light of the aurora, the green light of the aurora. Um, Tunguski. I screw that one up too. My Russian's bad. Um, yeah, it was 1859. I think it was 1859 was the Carrington event. But yeah, Carrington event. Yeah, um, yeah, 1859. Um, if that were to happen today, it could take out our computers, it could take out the internet, it could take out everything that we have, everything. And let me put a scenario out here that you may have never thought about. What if a big, huge event happens, and it happens only to half of the Earth, our half, and the United States is clearly in the sun's direct path when it hits, and now Mexico and North America and the United States, Canada, this whole side of the planet, Brazil, Central America, the entire Caribbean, plunged into darkness, returned to the Stone Ages. Cars won't start. China and Russia, nearly unaffected. Think about that for a minute. This will affect one side of the planet 90% and one side 10%. It will be very heavily affecting one side of the planet. So if you end up with our side of the planet reduced to the Stone Ages and the other side of the planet not reduced to the Stone Ages, I don't think I need to do the math, do I? All right. Is there anything else, guys? I'm 2.5 hours in, and I'm getting ready to go to bed. I'm looking for any other comments, anything you'd like me to talk about real quick before I go. I do want to thank everybody for being here tonight. This is the Sights and Sounds of Earth right here on Starship Adventures. We're on 6 nights a week, and Saturday, and we will be here tomorrow night again at 9 p.m. Eastern to talk about whatever's going on. We've had some slow days lately. After those busy days, we had some very busy days 3 or 4 weeks ago, and now we're having very slow days. It happens. The news cycle is crazy. Oh, that Tuskegee. Yeah, they're both pronounced. I think the other one has a D in it. There, Junior. That's another one there. We don't make all of our electronic components anymore. If they all get blown out, what are we going to do? We can't make more. Yep, I see. Yeah, if you guys, I'll post something on it. But the Carrington event, look it up. It's called the Carrington event, 1859, named after Carrington, the scientist, the astronomer who saw it through his telescope and sketched it, because this was before the days of photographs. And uh, he reported it that he saw this thing, and meanwhile, all these things were happening all over the earth. These weird things, lights in the sky, all hours of the night. Can you imagine an aurora borealis so bright in Jamaica that you could read a newspaper by the light? Um, that's crazy. And if that ever happens again, all of our electronics will be shot, or at least down. Some may work when the power comes back on. If it ever comes back on, who knows? All right, guys. I guess I'll go now. I'm gonna go now. I'm tired. I'm gonna go home now. So anyway, nobody got either of those movies. The movie was Alien. What was the other one I did? I'm trying to think. Aliens with an S. It was the second movie. And I can't remember what the other one is. It was a Star Trek episode. Anyway, um, Yes, and people died touching the railroad tracks as well. Uh huh. All right, guys, it's been fun tonight. I wish there was news to talk about, what there really isn't. All right, everybody. Have a good night out there. We'll see you back tomorrow night right here on the Sights and Sounds of Earth, live from Southwest Florida. My name's Ian. This is Starship Adventures. We'll see you tomorrow night. Same time, same channel. 7 3s, everybody. Have a good evening and a safe tomorrow. Yes, Aliens was the best one for sure.